one of the things that we individual is to create wealth as young. We're never too young to create wealth. And the best time to create our wealth is when we're young. And so later on, we can party in life if we want to. But it's not good to party all your life away while you're young, because that's the best time you ever have is when you're young. That's the strongest, the fittest of you. And you should make use of it in a more valuable way. So it's okay to be young and to live your life and to enjoy your life and enjoy your youth. But at the same time, you can't follow your friends to every party, to every bar, to every every occasion. Sometimes you just have to draw the line and said, well, you have to lay a foundation, and that is something that happened to many of us. Our parents did not lay foundations for us, and so we have to struggle to lay those foundations for our youth. And what happened? It's like a disease, you know. You grew up and your parents haven't have no preparation, make no preparation for their kids, and then we are trapped in that mentality, that we are trapped in that zone, and we ourselves don't make any preparation for our kids. And so we grew up, and then we start to realize, we start to understand that there's something that's needed to be done. And so sometimes many of us started late, and but it's never too late. You can always try and go ahead and do what is right. Sometimes you need a little back ends, and some of the best people to have around you when you reach at a certain age, if you have children, is to have your children behind you, and so that you'll know that whatever you achieve, whatever is you establish, it is for you and your children and for their children. But always make sure they're a part of it. Make sure they participate so they can know what it is like to struggle to the top or to gain what is wealth. Now, sometimes some of us are too religious, etc., and use that, and it holds us back in life. But listen, you have to remember that religion is just a religion, and you have to live. And I'm sure that your creator didn't put you on earth and say you must not be a wealthy person or you cannot be a rich person. There's nothing like that. You can give away, but give away what you can afford to give away. You can't give away because you said you're a religious person and the more you give, the more you get. Nothing like that. Nothing goes like that. You give away what you can afford to give away. You understand what I'm saying? You have to save something for a rainy day. You can't give away and leave yourself in the cold. So that is one thing for sure that we need to start doing. We have to have that mentality of getting that process of developing ourselves, our youth, our we have to know how to manage our wealth as well as our health. And so we must also make it be a part of our everyday living to if it's even if it's even 50 cents we can save from a dollar, we try to save it. Nothing wrong with it. In Jamaica, you see people throw away $1. They threw them away because they said they have no use, it's of no values. But can you imagine you pick up a million of that $1? You're a millionaire, isn't it? And so don't be too embarrassed when you're walking the street, the corridors, the playgrounds, um, the malls, etc. You see the $1, pick them up. Pick them up and save them. Yeah, you can save them. And every time you reach $100, you put it into a bag and you tie it up and put it away. That's $100. And you save again. You reach $100, you tie it up, you put it in the bag, and you put it away. You just continue doing the same thing over and over and over. And you'll be surprised. You'll be really surprised. And when you go to the shops and they give you those $1, don't be upset and talk about you're not taking them $1 because you know what? If I stand behind you in the shop or the supermarket and you threw that money on the counter and say you don't want it because they don't have no use, I'm gonna pick it up. I like to pick them up. So I pick them up and I put them in a little jar. I don't have no problem picking them up. You know what I'm saying? I put them in a little jar. And if I go to the shop and that's what they're giving me for change, I said, hell yeah, I welcome it. I welcome coins anyway. I don't, you know, like some people, they don't want no coins whatsoever. And, but I go to shops, they don't have the paper money to give me, they only got coins. I'll take it. If you got to give me $1 million worth of coins, I'll take it. That's mine. I'm not going to leave it behind. I'm not going to, boast and talk about I don't want those things in my pocket or I don't want those things. No, I want it. That's mine. I'm taking it. Give it to me. I have no problem. Give it to me. Some of us, we have to have the most fancy cars, the most fancy clothes. We have to have the best phone so everybody could see us, etc. But you gotta creep before you walk. Always remember that. So, whatever you do in life, even if you can afford a fancy car, an expensive phone or gadget, or the most expensive clothes, guess what? You can put that on hold. Let us stay. Think about establishing something that will generate funds, that will generate wealth, something that, every day, if it's even $1 can come in. Because from that dollar a day, you can become wealthy. It's just that you got to just know how to utilize what you're acquiring at that time. So if it's only $1 you get today, take it. You know what? Let's say you got a plant or you got a shoes, but you haven't worn it. And you just have it put down. Somebody come and see it. They love it. And you can make a profit off it. Sell it. Go back and buy your shoe. Do it. If you have a jeans or a shirt, whatever, and somebody likes it, and if you think you can make a profit off it, make a profit and go buy it back. You know what I'm saying? If you have a car driving and somebody likes it and you can make a profit off it, sell it. Go buy back a car. And sometimes we want the newer brand cars and stuff, but guess what? Sometimes the old car that you have is more reliable than the new cars because the old car doesn't give you the problem that new cars will give you because most of these new cars are technologically advanced, full of a lot of electrical wires, a lot of sensors, etc., etc. And when they start to give problem, they can be real expensive. And when you finish the maintenance and that vehicle, it costs you more than what you bought the vehicle for. Does it worth it? First, it's an older car, whereas an older car, once you give it a nice paint job and and put on there's a nice good paint job you put on it. You paint it, it looks good, look new again. You put on some nice rims and tires on it, and you can have that for God knows when. And it can serve you, it can take you places, you can do so much with it. But it costs you so less that Even if somebody asks to trade you with a new car, you don't want to do it because all you think about is the reliability of this car. It's just an older model. That's all it is. But it's still a car. It's running great. Um, it's almost maintenance free because it haven't cost you much to maintain apart from you put in gas, you change your oil when it's need to change it, etc. So you see, sometimes when you're thinking about buying things, you have to buy assets that are profitable. So if you're buying a house to live in, see if you can buy a house that if it's even half of it, you can cut it in half and rent and bring in money in your pocket. But you're not gonna buy a house and then you have to pay a heavy land tax, maintenance costs and all that. Rent the damn place out. You know what I mean? You don't have to show off to your friends and let them know that you live in a palace and blah. Rent the place out. You can rent. If you have a car and somebody wants the car to rent, once it's in good running condition, well, rent the car out. You know, that's a profitable asset. Rent it. You know what I'm saying? You don't need assets that are a liability to you where you're spending more than you earn and more than it's worth. You know? So whatever you do, always remember your assets that you're going to possess must be profitable assets instead of a liability. In that way, you can always have money coming into you. If if you have a pair of shoes and you have to and you think you need a change of shoes and your shoes cost you $100 or so, what you could do is see how much time you could turn that $100 over before buy the shoe. And guess what? Sometimes people don't look at it like that, but you can do it. You can go to the credit union, and if you have $100,000, you can go to the credit union and you can put it into a fixed deposit and borrow back the money. And you know that money is in the bank. And then you just give them a monthly installment. You pay them back monthly. But at least you know that $100,000 is safe and it's there. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you can have that money to pay monthly. And so the credit unions are very good. Kingston Credit Union, is it Credit Union of Kingston? COK. It's a very good bank when it comes to, but if you know how to work that bank, you can become wealthy. You just have to use your brain. But what happens is that most people, they won't take the chance with you, like friends and family. So you would say, "Can you lend me 200,000?" They don't want to lend it to you because the first thing come in their mind, how you gonna repay it? But if you have friends and families that can afford to loan you those money, you can borrow it. Let's say you have a family member, you know they're not going to use that money for now, or a friend, they're not going to use that money for now, and they're not money starved or hunger for money. So they can, and you can explain to them, I can borrow the money from you, I can put it in COK, I can fix that money for 6 months or for a year and let it stay there, and then I borrow back from that money. So if I put 200,000 and I said I'm going to borrow back 150,000 from credit union, and then now the credit union have a unique style that they work with you. What they usually ask you is how much you can pay per month. Now, sometimes you can pay back, say, $4,000 a month, but don't tell them that you can pay back $4,000 a month. Tell them you can pay three. They will work with you. And then when you tell them three, and a month you can pay $4,000 or $5,000, just give it to them. But at least you have that three limit that you know that you surely can afford to pay. So work with that three at all time. But if you can pay more monthly, you pay more. You understand what I'm saying? There's no penalty to it, etc. And the great thing, the more you pay, you know that you're paying down, your loan is going down, but your money is out there working for you, and plus your money sits in a fixed deposit and is increasing because you're still getting um, your interest on that money. So I wouldn't advise you if you have $1 million, you're gonna take that $1 million and run go buy, you know, something and then stay broke. If you can do like I said, put it into a fixed deposit, put it in there and borrow it back and buy what you want to buy. But always get something that are profitable, something that you can make back something from, you know, something that is a profitable asset to you and for the future to come, you know. But don't buy anything that's going to be a liability to you that you're going to regret, you know, that you actually bought it. So my advice to you, even with your paychecks, if you can put away a certain amount of your paychecks, you know, not everybody can, so I'm not gonna say it, but if you can, because you have to take in consideration that many people, they they are willing to do certain things, but the opportunity, they don't, you know, they just don't have that, they don't get that opportunity like many people. And we know that you have bills to pay, you have so much, and plus the money that you're getting is just not enough because it can hardly pay your bus fare and stuff like that. But for those who can do it, it's worth it. It do worth it. And whatever you do, make sure you can get a return on it. All right? There are people that's going to be around you like family members and friends, and they're going to be toxic people. They will always tell you that it can't work, this is not this is not that, this is just not the right way, etc. Sometimes you have to remove those toxic people around from you. You must always have an optimistic look of everything that you do. You must always see things in a more profitable way. See things that you say to yourself, it can work if I make it work. So if you say you're going to set up a business and you got family members that's going to tell, oh, I don't think you should because this and that happened, the first thing you're going to remove those, just cut the argument there and said, forget it. You don't want to really talk to those people because what they're actually doing is they fail before they even start. You know what I mean? And so they are persuading you not to go that way, not to do this, not to do that, you know? But you don't want that, you know? If your partner is negative, get rid of your partner. Doesn't matter how long you and your partner been together. If nothing is going on, etc., move on and do what you have to do. Young man, having a lot of female companion keep you broke. True. Having a lot of friends that likes to party keeps you broke. True. You don't want none of that. And you don't want to keep friends with people that don't like to hustle, don't like to work, don't like to do nothing for themselves, but relying on you to do the things they're meant to bring to. No, you don't want to rely. You don't want those people around you. You don't want to have a companion that want to stay home but don't want to do nothing but expect to um, to achieve from your achievement. You don't want that. You want a person that's going to stand behind you, a person that's going to stand beside you, and a person that's going to walk the way with you, and a person that understands what you're doing and willing to work with you. Those are the people that you need around you, whether it's your partner, your friends, or your family. Those are the people you need in your life to be a wealthy and a successful person if you decided to become wealthy. But you can't have people that full of doubt. You can't have people that thinks everything is negative. You can't have people that always think that, oh, we can't do it because so and so and so. There's nothing named can't. You can do it. It's up to you. We all understand that people are limited when it comes to opportunity based, especially on financial opportunities. They don't have no finance available to them. But sometimes you can try. You can buy a t-shirt for $1 and sell it back for $1.50. You don't have to sell it back for $2. And you can go back and buy a next t-shirt and sell it for $1.50. So that's $3. So now you can buy 3 t-shirts, right? Until you can buy 4 t-shirts. Because what you don't realize is that the more you invest is the more you get on your returns. The more you invest, the more you get. It's not the more you give, you get. It's the more you invest. It's the more you get. And if you only think of putting money in the bank to be in the bank for savings, then you're not doing yourself any good. When you have money, let the money work for you. You see, that's one of the things that I um, admire with the Arabians. You see, Arabs people, they have a way of investing money. And a lot of people are wondering, why is this Arab so rich and have so much money and etc. And sometimes you look and you see these white folks and you say, why is all these people so rich and have so much money and how do they accumulate that wealth? And guess what happened to those people? They don't take their money and put in the bank book or put in the bank for just saving purpose. They invest it. They invest it. So they will have they will have $1 in the bank, but there's something over there selling for $1, and they will try and get that. And they know when they buy that for $1, they can make $1 million off it. So their bank book is still gonna go up anyway. The profit that they're gonna get from that $1 is greater than keeping that $1 sitting in the bank book. So they would take the risk. And that's one of the things that we don't like to do. We don't like to take risk because we're thinking about, oh, I'm going to be broke or whatever. There are people that take risk and stay hungry. When I say hungry, it doesn't mean that they can't afford to buy a loaf of bread, but meaning that they would live off their means. They would live off what little they have, but they know that that money that they use can generate so much wealth for them. They're willing to take the risk. And so you have to take risk. You can't worry about, you can't talk about, well, I'm not going to start a business in this area or in that country because you got a lot of robbers. No, you can't think about the robbers. You can't think about the criminals. You can't, because if you do, then you will be trapped. And your mind will just cage into a prison. So you lock yourself away and encage yourself You cage yourself. You locked your own mind up. So the potential that you have, you put it under arrest because you're worried about what might have happened if when you're stubborn. You can't do that. What you have to do, you have to just go ahead, take those chances, and do what you have to do because your thoughts, your mind, your job is to become wealthy. And you're going to go on that path of becoming wealthy. And sometimes when you see people, don't care how don't care how criminal minded they are or how dangerous they are. Sometimes if you just have a chat with them sometimes, you can turn them around also. You can tell them to try the same thing that you tried. It will work. You know? You can tell them put away the gun. Get rid of crime. You don't have to go there. Just try this. It might not be as fast as you're looking for a turnover, but at the end of the day, you'll be satisfied with the wealth that you will accumulate later on, right? So those are the things that you have to have a foresight. You have to look deep into things. Sometimes we only think about short terms. We don't think about the medium and large term, you know? We just think about short terms. We want to get this now. Some people just want money to pay bills and they're okay. Some people just only want to know they can pay their bills and if they die, they will be buried and they're okay, you know? And if you live for that purpose, then that's what you will always end up with, the money to pay the bills. Nothing else. But if you have a mind of accumulating wealth and you think like a wealthy person will think, and you will stay on that track like a wealthy person will, you can make it. You align yourself with people with wealth, such as you read what make them become successful. You try to follow some of their footsteps, principles that they follow, values that they, you adapt some of those principles, and you'll always be on the right track. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to be a college graduate to be a wealthy person, because majority of our billionaires don't even know what a college door looks like. Uh-huh. And if you bring those savvy words and stuff to them, they don't even know it. But if you speak the corporate language of wealth, they will understand. And they will understand it fine. Sometimes you have your PhD, you have your master's degree, you have whatever degree you want to have. You have it. But can't make ends meet. So the only thing you have is just your knowledge, your education. And sometimes you see that man over there and you said it, he only went to high school or he didn't graduate high school or whatever, and he's so wealthy. And then sometimes you have a grudge for that person. But sometimes what you have to look at is those people are street smart, very smart. They know how to move around. They know how to get around. They know how, because you ever notice that don't care how ignorant a person is? When I say ignorant in these terms, I mean illiterate. You can't fool them when it comes to maths, you know. They might not know, they might not sophisticated enough in maths, but when it comes to basic maths, you know, they can check something quicker than the computer. You can't fool them with figures. You can't fool them with figures whatsoever. You understand what I'm saying? And how you think they survive most of the time? You can't just tell them things, you have to bring it to the table. and you have to put it in practical use and prove that it is practical and it works. And that's how they live their whole entire life and generate their wealth. While you sit there and talking about you have a master degree, and because you have a master degree or you have a PhD, it's like you're waiting for things to come to you. No, it's not going to happen. Something you have a PhD, you have to wipe the floor, because, like they say, you creep before you walk. So it doesn't matter how sophisticated you are. If you have to wipe the floor to get to the top, then do it. There's no shame to the game. Do it. I still remember at Sullivan Community College, at Sullivan, I remember Mr. Stern. He taught me, and he said the bakery that we passed, we have to pass that bakery. And he said, when I left college, I went to get a job at the bakery, and they didn't have any place for me. That was full. And he said he would wipe the floor, and there was like, you're coming from a college, you're coming from a university with your degree, such a high degree, and you will mop the floor. He said, yes, it's better than sitting home. At least I am still getting an income. And then he said he worked at that bakery, but he ended up owning the bakery today. Him and his wife own that bakery to this day in Sullivan, right? In Sullivan. And so, I'm going to say Sullivan, I'm talking Sullivan, New York, you know? And so he owns that bakery till this day, even though he teach and, whatever. And, thank you, Mr. Stern, for having me being your tutor when you're not around, He used to have me doing the tutor for the class when he's not in, so thank him for that. Because I used to be so shy. One, I used to be so shy and quiet, and I can do my work, but I stay by myself and I don't. And he always said, you got potential, you got great potential. And he always put me in charge of the class. Once he's stepping out the class, he said, you're in charge, and stuff like that. And he used to go on for, because and I taught that class, and and it was, and it was a great experience, but and unfortunately, especially in Jamaica, many of us are from good family backgrounds, but many of us, our family, don't have that faith in us. They don't invest in us. They don't invest in themselves either. And that's the reason why there are so many families, so many people that living the way they are living today, and then people on the street will be like, oh, your family got this and your family got that and you're living like that. Sometimes you just don't get that good start. You don't, you know? And there are people that sometimes they rather you stay at the bottom looking up to them so they can look down on you and they can give you what they feel like. And then, they feel like a god because, without them you can't survive. It don't have to be like that. Sometimes you got to just shake yourself off, pick yourself up and shake yourself off and move on. Sometimes you can go to places nobody knows you and make it. You don't have to be at the same place. You don't have to be around the same people and not going anywhere. Move it on. Move it on. And so remember, set your foundation while you're young and enjoy it later on. But don't party now and then later on you struggle or try to catch up game. You want to catch up now in life. It's much harder. When you're young, strong, and everything going for you, make that choice from early. You don't have to impress your friends. You don't have to give in to peer pressure or all that. You don't have to impress none of your friends. You're doing it for you and for your family. Your family would mean if you have kids already or later on in life when you might have kids. Whatever you do is for you and them. And always remember, friends is not always around, but your family. You can never divorce from your family because your family will always be your family. It's blood, no matter what. That's blood. So it's your family. So just make sure they're working with you. If they're not working with you, then hey, make a move, but they're still your family. If you have friends that are negative, they don't give it an urge, they are not supportive, they always tell you that you can't, and they always tell you that it won't work or whatever, walk away. You can still call them every now and then when you see them on the street and stuff, but they're poisonous. They're toxic people. Those are the people you got to keep yourself away from. Anybody that comes with doubts and tries to put doubt in you that you can't this or you can't that, walk away from them. It's not healthy for you. Mentally, it's not healthy for you. Emotionally, it's not healthy for you. And even physically, it's not healthy for you. Engage yourself in healthy relationship, positive relationship. That's what you engage yourself in. Have a plan and have a backup plan. And have a backup plan. But something must work. Something will work. But if you fail in one field, don't say it's over. Continue, moving on. So if this doesn't work, something will work. So you're going to work with what will work. You can rent a house and rent it out back. Did you know that you can make money that way too? You can rent a house and rent it out back. And you don't have to live in it. And just as long as you are making sure that you don't owe that landlord or whatever, or agent money, that's good. So if you rent something for 20,000 and you can rent it out back for 25, that's $5,000 you get in your pocket, $5,000 extra. And you pay your landlords or the agent their 20,000, you still have your 5,000. Right? And you can continue doing that and that. And you can make money. You can make money. But it's all, you just have to know how to use this that you have, your brain. That's the most important thing. So just remember, start creating the wealth while you're young. Lay that foundation while you're young. And when everybody trying to catch up, you can party. Remember that. Just do that. That's the right way to do it. So peace out. Yeah. It's just another day. It's another dollar. And that's the way that